Welcome to Regional Radio Sports Network. My name is Ron Hecklinski, a wonderful 1974 grad of the great St. Joe High School. So glad you could join us today on our second installment of Heartbeat of the Huskies. Filming, taking the pictures, giving us the sounds is a 1998 graduate of St. Joe High School, the great J.P. Jobert. So obviously, not only presenting this Heartbeat of the Huskies to everybody out there, St. Joe, but there's a lot of pride with me and JP understanding that we're both St. Joe graduates, man, and we love St. Joe High School. I love St. Joe's, one of their mission statements, transforming students in heart and mind through Catholic education. That's what St. Joe High School has always been about back in the 60s, the 70s, and now in 2025. So I certainly appreciate that statement. I got to tell you, before we get started today, and we have a great show, I want to talk about and pass my condolences and obviously St. Joe's condolences along to the family of Dave Kuzmits. Dave was a 1973 graduate of St. Joe High School. 3-year starter on the basketball program, scored 999 points. 900, can't we get him a point somewhere? Can't we go through and check the books and find a free throw he made? 999 points, fought a heck of a 3-year battle with cancer, was just a true warrior, received a basketball scholarship to Notre Dame, played 4 years under Digger Phelps, was a school teacher in Boston, Massachusetts, and was a true warrior. So, again, our thoughts and prayers go out to Dave, his wife Vivian, and his family, and all of his friends and former teammates. We have a great show for you today. We have the great AD, athletic director at St. Joe High School, Mr. Stephan Anthony. Somebody stepped on the cord. There we go. We're good now. Mr. Stephan Anthony is going to give us a recap. And, the fall sports, I believe there's 9 of them with the addition of girls flag football. Yeah. But he's going to give us a recap on what transpired in the fall. And, Stephan, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, Ron.
Good. Why don't you start on your recap? Because I know you've had some great success stories this fall at St. Joe.
Thank you, Coach. Yeah, it's another great season here at St. Joe. Really pleased and proud of the effort that our coaches have put forth. Really proud of the support we received from our parents and our team parents, helping us guide our student athletes and providing a wonderful student athlete experience for our student athletes here at St. Joe. So the fall was wonderful. We had a lot of success. I'd like to start off with flag football, our newest sport, an IHSA emerging sport. Want to thank the Indianapolis Colts for helping support this new initiative. I'm just so proud to have been able to bring flag football to St. Joe. I'm proud of the support that I've received, and so proud of the young ladies playing flag. It was a tremendous team effort. Tremendous team spirit, team culture. The team went 5-3, lost in the first round of the sectionals to Elkhart. They split with Elkhart. Elkhart, terrific team. The NIC, first of all, Coach, the NIC led the way in flag football this season in the state of Indiana. 7 of our 8 members sponsored flag. LaVille served as an associate member for the season, so we all had our required 7-game season. We split with Elkhart. We lost to a semifinal team in New Prairie in the regular season, and we lost to eventual state champs Penn in the regular season. So 5-3, wonderful season. Great job by Coach Jared Dees.
Let me ask you a question about girls flag football, because I know what goes into regular football. Coaches signal in the plays, the quarterback relays everything. Is that the way flag football is also, where the coach would signal in the plays, the quarterback runs everything, runs sets, runs plays, and things like that?
Absolutely. It has a bit of a feel of backyard football in the sense that there's no tackling, there's no blocking. The quarterback can run if they're rushed. So there's some rules that are different than tackle football. But absolutely, there are. The coach has a game plan. They have an offensive and defensive game plan, and the plays are sent in and called just like Friday night football. And flag football is just an exciting sport, and the athleticism that our team demonstrated this year was really exciting to watch. But it's very much a team sport, very much organized and competitive and demanding sport.
How many girls did you have in it?
We had 27.
And so you were able to go, 2 units, an offensive unit and a defensive unit?
Correct. We had a few players that played both ways, but majority of the student athletes played offense, defense, and again, we had a really good turnout. I'm really proud of the fact that we had a new sport, and we provided a fall sport opportunity for 27 young ladies, and many of them were new to athletics. So it was definitely a new initiative.
And kudos to the IHSAA,
yes.
and like you've already talked about the Indianapolis Colts for developing this sport. And again, what a great comment. You provided an opportunity for 27 girls that maybe wouldn't have been involved in sports in the fall to go out and play.
Absolutely, yeah. So really, really grateful for the opportunity that the partnership between the IHSAA and the Indianapolis Colts to bring flag football to the state of Indiana. I'm proud that we're doing our part and that we put forth a very competitive team. Proud of the NIC for really jumping on board and leading the way. And I think you're going to see teams from our area be represented in the state playoffs for years to come. I know St. Joe's going to be there, and the other teams that did well this year are going to continue to excel. So
cool.
The rest of the teams, again, last time, our last episode of Heartbeat with the Huskies, we had Coach Dan Mentok on just before they went to state. They improved their position from last year, finishing 8th this year, moving up 2 spots. Obviously, football, we had Coach Downey on last episode. Football is continuing to do well. They dropped a game to Penn, but they came back and beat Riley in the first round. And we host Northridge tomorrow night in the sectional semifinals.
One thing that I want to talk about that Riley game, I was most impressed because at the end of the game got a little chippy.
Right.
And I'm not going to say who initiated it, who started it, but what I will say is I was really impressed by the way the coaches got the St. Joe kids to their sideline. And, when you're in a battle like that and emotions are running high and it's a contact sport, it was a contact sport for me in basketball, and things got a little chippy. But when that happened, I thought Coach Downey and his staff got the St. Joe players out of the whole scrum and got them to the sideline. And whether the Riley kids continued to talk or whatever, St. Joe was not involved. So I thought that was a lot of class from Coach Downey and the football program.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, the game is the game's a violent sport. It's a collision sport, and certainly it's coming down to the end, and you've got, unfortunately one team is going to end their season, so there's a lot of emotion involved. I think both teams did a great job, and I think both coaching staffs did a wonderful job of controlling the situation. I mean, some of the moments in the game obviously are unpredictable. Student athletes are out there competing hard, and there's a lot of emotion. But I was really proud to be there and to witness both coaching staffs really take control. But certainly St. Joe with Coach Downey, Coach Johnson, Coach Fearson, other coaches on the sideline, really controlling our bench and getting our student athletes to stay focused and stay in the moment. Really pleased with that. And just shows you the kind of culture that Coach Downey has built with our program and how they respect one another and how they take care of each other. So I'm really looking forward to the game tomorrow night, and I think that's going to carry over, and hopefully we can continue.
Yeah, no, it's a huge game tomorrow night. Northridge, although their record isn't great, they've played a lot of one-score games, and they didn't have a lot of success. But in doing some of the research, I'm going to be broadcasting the game tomorrow night, obviously on regionalradiosports.net. But in doing some of that research, I mean, Northridge is a good football team. A lot of high school football coaches have told me that they are good, and Coach Downey will and some people would call that game a trap game. I'm not calling it a trap game because it's a sectional. It's one and done. So every game in itself could be your last game. And I know Coach Downey's a pro at this, and I know the Huskies, will be ready to play.
Right, absolutely. I think Coach Downey's strength is his ability to focus in the moment and be in the moment. So no Husky team will ever get ahead of themselves or think ahead or think beyond a game as long as Coach Downey is coaching his team. Coach Downey said something a couple weeks ago when he told the boys to stop thinking about state. He said, "State, we're not going to state. State's coming to us." And what he meant by that was the sectional is so strong that we've got to take care of business week after week here in our area before we think about going down to Indianapolis. And, so basically what he's saying is Northridge is coming to us. Northridge is a good program, strong program. Forget about the record, and we better be ready. And I know Coach Downey will have the team ready.
Stay in the moment, win play-by-play.
Absolutely.
And then when that happens, it's the next step.
Right. Absolutely. So just to kind of recap, finish up, girls soccer had another good season, another competitive season. Unfortunately, lost in penalty kicks in the second round of sectionals to Marion. Marion's playing this weekend for the state championship, so good luck to them. And again, it just shows you how strong our program was, one game away from perhaps making the same similar run. Boys soccer, you'll talk to Coach Pablo Martinez here in a few moments. Had a rebuilding year. It started off slow, but the message was develop in September and win in October, and that's exactly what they did with winning their last 5 games, including sectionals. They upset Northwood at Northwood 3-0 in the sectional championship, and then played a very strong Hanover Central team at their place and dropped the game 2-0, giving up 2 early goals. But I'm so pleased with Coach Martinez and the job that he's done, and I just really they're playing an attractive brand of soccer. He's teaching the game so well, creating a wonderful student-athlete experience. So excited about what third going to do over the next few years as their freshmen and sophomores continue to grow. You're going to talk to Coach Matt Halfpenny as well. Third consecutive year Coach of the Year in the NIC. Second consecutive year taking his team down to state. This year, again, finished in the semifinals, losing a tough match to Homestead, 3-2. A match that took close to 6 hours. Started at North Central, had to be moved inside to Carmel because they ran out of daylight.
Wow.
And losing 3-2 in a match that could have gone our way. So with only losing one senior, Noah Dabrowski, we're excited that the core group is going to return and make another run next year. Girls volleyball, Lexi Logan continues to do a great job for us. I'm really I really appreciate her coaching style. I like to describe her as someone who just has true grit. She just gets after it and coaches, and I really respect the way she does. And her program finished about 500, losing a tough match in the sectional semifinals after beating Culver in the first round. Lost a competitive match to New Prairie, 3-1. And
cross country, the runners, man.
That's where I was going, Coach. So cross country had a tremendous season. What a competitive program. Mike McCarthy, always the smartest guy in the room, and his commitment, his dedication, and his approach. He really leads in such a remarkable way, and really brings out the best in his athletes. So the team in the largest sectional in the state, both boys and girls, placed second. They went on to regionals. Unfortunately, we didn't advance as teams to the state, but Izzy Forbutt a senior, did advance as an individual. So she'll be running this weekend on Saturday down in Terre Haute. But both programs had a tremendous record, posted tremendous results in every match, every meet, first place, second place throughout. And again, finishing second in the NIC, finishing second in sectionals, which again, tremendous accomplishment because of the size of the sectional with 18 teams. And then we wish Izzy all the best this weekend. So wonderful fall season, and a shout out to Coach Isa Guthrie for our cheer team. Although let me correct that. I was going to say not a competitive sports team, but Coach Isa has entered them into a recent competitive cheer competition, but she just continues to promote and elevate the cheer program every year. So just, again, really pleased with the fall, and wonderful to talk about all the successes we've had.
Yeah, try telling cheerleaders that it's not competitive, right?
Right.
Some of the stunts that they do, some of the jumps and the midair somersaults that they do, and they got to rely on their cheer teammates to make sure that they catch them. That sounds like it's pretty competitive to me. Yep. So it sounds like, again, you've had another very, very successful fall sports program here at St. Joe. And as football is still continuing to play, and you get ready to put this season to bed, the winter sports season now creeps up on you, and teams are starting to practice. So when you talk about your 3 seasons, your fall, your winter, your spring, which one would you say is the most difficult for an athletic director to get through?
I think the fall season is probably the most challenging, because you come out of the summer and all of a sudden you go from 0 to 60 very fast. You come out of the summer schedules, and then all of a sudden you've got all the sports starting at the same point, same time. And, again, we have 9 sports offerings. And then on the backside of the fall season, you have the winter sports starting as fall sports are winding down. And that transition period adds a little bit of a challenge to the schedule. But, we have such strong programs, such strong coaches, and the expectations at St. Joe is very high. So the entire year is demanding, but for good reasons and for good purpose.
It might be a good time to talk about John Kump for a minute, right? And all the things that he does to help you get through these fall, these winter, these spring athletic seasons.
Oh, absolutely. John and I are a true partnership. It's the two of us in athletics. And, again, I lean on John every day. And there are certain things that, are his that he's been doing for years, even before my time when he worked with Deb Brown, the previous athletic director. But John and I are just a tremendous partnership. And we just get together, we divide and conquer, and we get it done.
That's a great way to put it.
He's wonderful to work with, and his support is tremendous.
Well, again, I want to thank you for being on Heartbeat of the Huskies, talking about your fall recap. We're going to take a short break here, and then we're going to get the very, very successful, very talented Coach Halfpenny on to talk about his boys tennis program and all of the success that they have had at St. Joe High School.
Sounds good, Coach. Thank you.
Welcome back to Regional Radio Sports Network, Heartbeat of the Huskies. We are so, I am so happy and looking forward to this interview with Matt Halfpenny, the boys tennis coach at St. Joe. First of all, your tennis background is amazing. All of the things that you've accomplished, where you've played at, you have been a D1 assistant coach, you've been a D1 head coach, and now you're the head coach at the great St. Joe High School. So I'm a 1974 grad, man.
Okay.
So I don't, in 74, I think we played tennis on the cinders. I'm not sure we had a tennis team or we had a tennis court to play on, but your facilities and everything that you have now are amazing, man. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background from where you played at, your college days, and then your coaching background, and then tell our listeners what got you to South Bend.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me first. So I grew up just outside of Philadelphia. I was a junior player out of the Middle States section, right? The United States is composed of 16 sections throughout the country. Middle States was Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware. Played collegiately down in Charleston, South Carolina at Charleston Southern. In the Big South, was down there 94 to 98. After graduating, started coaching collegiately at Brown University. And fortunately for me, I was able to meet my better half, somebody who I consider to be one of the best coaches I've ever been around. So met my wife Christine at Brown, moved down to the Carolinas. I was at NC State. She was at Duke. We were both assistant coaches there. Moved to Virginia. She was a head coach at William and Mary. I was a head coach at Norfolk State. And then while we were down in Virginia, she got a call from Notre Dame.
Wow.
So that kind of started the process of us moving to South Bend in the Midwest.
And then you get to South Bend, and you coach the junior circuit, right? You instruct the young kids. I'm sure you have your own tennis academy for a while in South Bend, right?
Right. So during the interview process, I was fortunate to get connected with the folks over at the South Bend Racket Club, and started a rather small junior program, after school program, and then was fortunate another local who actually coached here at St. Joe as well, Eric Mahone, who's now he's the head coach at Holy Cross. Him and I partnered up, and we ran a junior program there for several years, and he moved on to become the head coach at Holy Cross in 18. And then I stepped away. I went back to school. I got my master's degree and started working just across the street at Oaklawn. And then this opportunity here at St. Joe came about. I knew Coach Bender was retiring, and I know John Gump very well, and just kind of had a conversation. I initially was just offering my services to be a volunteer. So turns out that the head coach position was in order. So it's been a great ride. It's been really fun. I'm just really honored. I love St. Joe. My boys, my oldest son Jack, who's now in Chicago at DePaul as a freshman, and my youngest son Cole is a junior here. So we're very happy to be here. We're very fortunate, and just grateful to be able to give back to the community and give back to this school.
Yeah, and I mentioned this to you earlier. I'm a 1974 grad of St. Joe, and JP is a 1998 grad of St. Joe. So we totally understand the feeling that anybody who works here or is involved at St. Joe has a great understanding of what St. Joe is all about.
Right.
And not only as a coach, but as a parent, as your two sons go through the program at St. Joe. And, I had John Kennedy on in our first episode of Heartbeat of the Huskies, and my first question to him is, when you talk to other principals, they always talk about your graduation rate. At St. Joe, you never talk about your graduation rate because it's 100%, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then you look at your 3-year career here as the head boys tennis coach, 47-9, 3 years as the NIC regular champs, 3 years of sectional and regional championships, 2 years of semi-state championships, and then 2 years of going down to the states. That in itself. You can't write stories up like that in itself. How hard or how easy was it for you when you first got here to develop the program that you have now and to be able to sustain all the success?
Well, you got to have the players, right? That's the first thing. You have to have the players. I think initially, my first year, we had to tweak a few things within the culture, right? So for me, what my focus was, because it's such a short season, right? We're talking about 10 weeks. And a lot of these kids, they train outside of just playing high school tennis. So my approach to it was just our repetition, our preparation, and our execution. Like it wasn't where I was going to completely tweak these kids and their fundamentals and their technique, etc. It was more about the process of how we train, how we practice, how we prepare, so that when we go out and we play matches, we can perform and execute at our highest potential. So that was kind of something that I felt initially getting here, that that I had to implement a little bit more of, just an overall structure of how we practice and how we, prepared on game day.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to approach. Coming in and taking a new job, whether you're taking a basketball job at St. Joe or the baseball job or the tennis job. It's all coaching, but it's trying to make everything your culture and how you want
Right.
to see it go through and play out. And so you get to the state finals this year, and talk about your 6-hour marathon game, which is a match. My bad. I'm talking about games.
No, you're
but
fine.
It's a 6-hour match.
Yeah.
How you keep the intensity up, or how your players continue to keep that intensity up when there's a break like that, and what you go through as a coach.
Sure. So, well, first, when I, my first year inheriting the schedule that was set, what I didn't see was enough of the indie schools on schedule, which I felt was important to add. So second year, we added Homestead. This year, I was able to continue that relationship with Homestead in the regular season, plus adding Carmel and having Culver on the schedule. And what I think for me, and what I had to communicate to the players, was take records out of the equation. I'm not concerned about that. What those matches do for us during the regular season, win or lose, is they prepare us for the postseason. Like going into and playing these tough matches in the state tournament are going to be helpful if we've had that experience during the regular season. So we already knew Homestead because we had traveled down, and Michael at Homestead was great. We met at Warsaw High School, and even that match was just short of 3 hours. But we agreed it was very interesting how it kind of played out. When we got down to Warsaw, they didn't have lights at Warsaw High School. And so Michael and I agreed, like, all right, in lieu of a third set with any of the courts, we'll just play a super tiebreaker. And 2 of the 5 courts went to a third set, and that was the right call because we were probably about 10 minutes shy of running out of daylight. So fast forward to the Final Four. Here we are. We're paired up with them again.
No. Hold on for a second. That is great to hear when you say the Final Four. Whether it's the Final Four in anything, you're in the Final Four. Are you in the state of Indiana?
See, that's what. I'm an East Coast guy, and I'm still kind of trying to figure out this whole semi-state, state terminology. So I just call it, we beat Culver in the round of 16, we beat Penn in the Elite 8, and here we are playing Homestead in the Final Four. That's the way I look at it.
No, that's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing.
It just sounds better.
Yeah, it
you know what I mean?
Great.
It sounds better. So, and Michael and I had been texting back and forth, as well as Coach Bowers. The 3 of us were on a text chain prior to the matches starting on Friday, that in the event whoever was playing, because it was very clear Homestead was going to advance. So then obviously it was going to be either us or Penn. And a 4:30 start time was going to be a problem, right? Because they don't have lights at the high school. And the reason why it was a 4:30 start time is because it was a Friday afternoon. It's a very large high school. Getting the kids on the buses, getting them off campus takes a lot of logistics, a lot of time. So the 4:30 start time was set, and there was concern, right? And then, of course, we got to that point. And initially, their first thought was, well, we're just going to resume this tomorrow morning. That wasn't, no way.
Yeah, you can't do that.
We're not going to stop, right. We're not going to stop the match. And Carmel had finished. They had finished their semifinal match, and the coach there was like, "Well, we have lights. We can crank up the lights at Carmel High School, and we just move it over there." Just prior to that, a third point was established for Homestead, we still had to go and complete the two our 1 and 2 singles matches, particularly the number 1 singles, because there was the individual state implications there. So we kind of had to pack up and drive a few miles up to Carmel High School. They have a beautiful facility. They cranked the lights on, and we were there for probably about another hour and 15.
So when you talk about the logistics of putting a state tennis tournament together, and this is just a novice person asking the question, why wasn't it at Carmel from the beginning? Because of the lights.
That's
a good question, right?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
it's a good question for a basketball coach to ask a tennis coach.
Yeah. Well, to their defense, North Central does a tremendous job of hosting. It's a beautiful facility. They have more than enough courts. They do a great job, and this schedule had changed, which caused the logistics to change, right? So initially, it's you play the quarterfinals on Friday, and then you play semifinals 10 a.m. Saturday, and finals at 2 p.m. So you're not worried about on Saturday. You're not worried about the logistics of students. You're not worried about daylight because you have the 2 o'clock start time. So it was a tough call that they had to make based on the incoming weather that was coming. Saturday, they made the call. So as far as, I don't think if they continue with the schedule as it was or as it has been in the past, they're not really going to run into a daylight issue. Now, the weather issue, I don't know where.
Yeah, Mother Nature is Mother Nature.
Right. So you make that determination, and I know, when Coach Mumford, when they won their state title, they had to complete the match indoors. Like they had to move it inside.
Talk about some of the players that participated for St. Joe and have been just involved in this great successful run that you've had.
Right. So we are returning 6 of our 7 varsity players for next year, and obviously, when you are talking about these returning players, you start with the Hicks brothers, right? You start with Jacob and Oliver Hicks. Jacob being a junior this year, Oliver being a sophomore. So, and I've known these boys since they've been little, right? We live right in the same neighborhood. I see them. I've been seeing them train, at whether it's at Morris Park or back when Notre Dame used to have outdoor tennis courts, and just seeing their development. What I love about them is just their demeanor, right? Their approach to it. They're very even keeled. But what I really love is that they're also hockey players.
Wow.
To me, that my son Cole, who's on the team, his main sport is lacrosse, and then we have other kids like Ben Brady, who's on the team. He plays lacrosse. Jack Madison, who's on our team, he plays basketball. So we have these multi-sport athletes, which I love. I think that as a coach, I was always at the collegiate level. While you look at kids and you're recruiting them, you're always trying to figure out their background. Like, what other environments have they been in? Like, what other competitive environments have they been in? And somebody who may be just specifically playing tennis may not be the right fit for your program, right? It may not be the right fit. So when I see kids on our team that are multi-sport athletes, that makes my job easier, because I know that they can respond to certain styles of coaching, whether I get on them a little bit tougher or I back off and let them kind of figure it out, because they've had that experience and that exposure to other coaches. Or
certain areas of pressure, because they've been involved in other sports, and there's been pressure in other sports. Mm-hmm. Other type of pressure than pressure that they may have in a tennis match.
Right. Well, and I think too, you bring in the component of like outside noise, right, from fans and so forth, and I told my guys Thursday night when we got down to the hotel prior, we had our team meeting, and I told them, I said, look, this is how this is going to play out when we get to North Central and we're warming up, and I'm fairly certain the Penn boys they're going to be they're going to be chirping at us a little bit. And sure enough, they did. We were already actually at the facility, and they were coming off the bus, and they were, kind of playfully, but at the same time, I knew they were going to do it. And it just fired my guy, especially Jacob and Oliver. Like, they hear that when they're on the rink.
Sure.
Like, they're hearing chirping from the stands, from the student section of an opposing school or what have you. Like, that's just it makes certain players, it makes them perform at a higher level. And then they went out. Jacob won 6-0, 6-0, 6-0, 6-0, 6-1. Oliver 6-1, 6-0. I mean, our singles we were done against Penn in less than 90 minutes. We had 3 points on the board right away. And I think one thing that the kids responded to is I told them something was going to occur and how we were going to react to it, and that did occur. And so they looked at me in that level of trust. They're like, okay, he told us this was going to happen.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, and I think that's a big part of coaching. I coached basketball both on a college level and high school level for like 40 years, and I retired 3 years ago. And people ask me, they say, "What do you miss the most in coaching?" And my answer is quick, concise, and I always go to it. I miss that moment where there's 10 seconds in a game. As a coach, you call timeout, and you're going to draw up the hopefully winning play, and there's 10 eyeballs on you, and they're saying, "Hey, coach, draw this up for us now. You're good. This is what you do. Draw this up. We'll go do it."
Right.
And that's probably the thing that I missed the most in the game. And you just said it. You scripted it for your guys. This is what's going to happen. This is how you react, and this is how we're going to win.
Right. And I had been telling our guys, even during the regular season, like, we're close. We can make another run. Right. Final Four or beyond is doable. And there was a moment towards the end of the regular season, particularly after our Elkhart match, that I just, I felt like we weren't really taking it very seriously, and I had to get on them, after the match had concluded, and that was the end of the regular season. And as a coach, and this, right, you have those, separate seasons. You have the regular season, and then you have a little break, and then you prepare for the postseason. And your approach can be completely different, for the postseason, because it's win and keep playing. Lose and you're done, right? It's over. The regular season, you may not show up and have a bad performance. Oh, well, we have another match in 2 days. I can redeem myself, right? So it's a completely different mindset, and that's obviously my job as a head coach, and is to get the team to understand that and just kind of really have that focus narrowed in going into a postseason tournament. And the boys responded really, really well.
Yeah, that's a great testament to you and through all your coaching experience and all the things you've done. Now you run some programs here in South Bend, right, for the youth?
I did. I once did, yes.
Okay, but you don't do it anymore?
No. I stepped away from that in 2019.
All right.
I went back to school. I got a master's degree, and I actually work right across the street.
Yeah, no, you said that, yeah.
Yeah, so I work on a crisis response team at Oak Lawn.
So when you're home and your wife, your wife's got a huge lacrosse match coming up, and she's a little edgy. You got a huge tennis match coming up, and you're a little edgy. What do we do? Do we go to a movie? Do you go by yourself? She goes by herself, or
no?
What's your go-to game?
We talk shop.
That is cool.
It's, I'm very fortunate to have somebody like her in my corner. Right, I think she's one of the best coaches I've ever been around. Just somebody who can motivate a group. And that was the thing too, like this season, you're trying to get kids to see down the road. Like, you're trying to get them to see what I'm seeing, 3-4 weeks ahead of what because they're so, in the moment, maybe looking at their screen too much, and they're not like seeing the future, right? So it's very nice to have somebody in my corner, and we've been together, over 24 years now. So it's a very valuable piece to have. And I also last spring I volunteered with the women's tennis team at Notre Dame as well, and Coach Allison and Jason, her assistant, I mean, they are phenomenal coaches. And just being around others, being around really good coaches, like-minded coaches, and maybe we'll go down and have dinner with Coach Corrigan, right, and Liz, and their St. Joe family and their tennis affiliated, and of course lacrosse. But just to be around those coaches and talk and shop, right, and just learning and sharing, stories and so forth. But it is nice to have that in my own home, right, so that we can just have those conversations.
Do you have any of your tennis players playing in college currently now?
From St. Joe?
From St. Joe.
So we have Will Westbury. He's playing. Colin Blumentrich started out 1 year, but he has now since transferred, and he is not playing. He transferred to IU. He is not playing. But, our assistant coach is Max Blumentrich, who was a player here, played at Bethel. And they were all students of mine, Max, Colin, and then the youngest, Luke Blumentrich. They were all in the junior program at the South Bend Rec Club back in the day when they were little.
That's really cool to have those kids coming up.
It's really neat. And I know Max is a tremendous asset to this program. He does a great job with these kids, and he really loves St. Joe High School. He loves the tennis program, and it was, again, I think that as a head coach, to have success, not only do you have to have good players, but you have to have good support. You have to have good staff. We have great support from our administration here at the school. Like, all those things just make my job easier, right? And then for me, it's just a matter of making sure that I am putting the players in a position to be successful.
Well, you've really done that from an outstanding perspective here with your 3-year run. Looks like next year you would be strong again, having 6 out of 7 players, and then developing young kids to come up. It's almost, and I would think this as a outside coach looking in, that when your programs are great, you have kids wanting to come here to St. Joe to be a part of that program, and so the word's not recruiting, because that has a bad connotation sometimes with the IHSAA, but from the standpoint of kids just looking at your program and saying, "Man, this is where I want to go."
Yeah,
I think that's a really plus for you and St. Joe.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is, in getting back to what we talked about, 2 days after we got back from Indy, I'm already emailing HSC, who was in the Final Four. We have Carmel on the schedule, we'll have Culver on the schedule, we'll have Homestead. I want to play every top 10 team that I can. And
sure.
we'll go on the road. And I tell these coaches, like, we will come down there. We'll play in Indy, we'll meet at Warsaw. Like, I just want our kids to be exposed to those Indy schools that, predominantly are putting out team after team after team.
Yeah, and those are the schools you got to get through to win a state championship.
So why not go down and play them?
100%.
And we'll go down to their school. I don't care.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, man, it's been really cool getting the chance to chat this up a little bit, and for you to talk about your program, and for everybody to hear this. But from my standpoint as a coach, to see another coach who's just in it 100% and understands it, and understands how to have success sustained, it's really cool to meet you.
Appreciate your time.
Man, good luck, and keep St. Joe rolling on the tennis scene, right?
We will. We'll be there again.
All right, we will be back with segment number 3 on Heartbeat of the Huskies in a minute. Welcome back to Regional Radio Sports Network. Again, my name is Ron Hecklinski, a 1994 graduate of South Bend St. Joe. And I am so happy to have here on Heartbeat of the Huskies the head soccer coach from St. Joe, Pablo Martinez. Man, welcome to the show. And you're a soccer guy through and through, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And thanks for having me. I'm happy to represent the St. Joe community. So
talk about your upbringing in soccer. I know you came to South Bend for Notre Dame. I know you coached in some leagues and some AAU soccer here. Talk about your background a little bit and what led you to come to here and eventually be the head coach at St. Joe.
Yeah, so I started coaching here in 2021 as an assistant, but prior to that, I came to the area. I went to undergrad at Notre Dame, graduated from Notre Dame, and then I started working for the university right after then. And I'd been with the university for the past 14 years or so made a lot of different connections with the community. My coaching career kind of started as I got involved with our mini academy, so under 5s through under 9 kids with the Indiana Invaders Club, which was a local club here in Indiana, similar to Junior Irish. And so really it was always a passion. I loved the game. I've been a player for the game. I had to kind of give up my playing career to come to Notre Dame, which was a hard decision, but definitely one that was worth it. And so I've always just wanted to pass it along. And I love working with youth. I love working with different programs and with children and just share that love for the game. And so when Alberto Verderamo gave me the chance to form part of his assistant staff in 2021, I took that role on for 2 years, and I really enjoyed it and learned a lot from him in the process.
So your full-time day job right now, you are the U.S. Director of Andean Health and Development, which is a U.S.-based nonprofit that provides health care and for the rural poor in Ecuador. You are from Ecuador, right?
Correct. Yeah. So I'm from Ecuador, and that's kind of where the passion for the game of soccer also comes from. Very Latin American passion for it. But yeah, so Indian Health and Development, our goal is to provide a healthcare model that builds hospitals for rural and marginalized places, not only in Ecuador, but we hope to sometime in the near future expand throughout the global South. And so that has that's really opened up my eyes, and I love my time at Notre Dame, but this is a really unique opportunity, and because of the remoteness of the job, it allows me to be a little bit more present from time to time with the kids here in the soccer program, which I've really enjoyed as well.
The last 2 years, then you've been the head coach. Your first year, you go 9-5-3. You lose in the sectional semifinals to Culver on penalty kicks. Now, this year, 2025, is that or coming into 2025, was that a rebuilding season for you?
I would think so. I mean, just like the team this year, I still see myself as a very young, inexperienced coach and always learning. And I tell the kids that all the time. I'm constantly trying to learn myself. But yeah, so last year, my first year, I was very blessed and fortunate. We had 14 seniors, 14 seniors, 10 of which were starters, a lot of experience on varsity at that level. And then this year we struggled because we had a lot of kids who, I think we had less than 1,200 varsity minutes among our whole varsity team this year playing. And so it was a lot of a learning experience and things that we, I think, approached the right way, but it was tough to handle at times.
Yeah, but handle it you did as your record was 5-12-3. But towards the end of the season, I'm pretty sure your players got the message. They understood your philosophy. Things started going well because then you go on to win the sectional championship, man.
Yeah, and I think it's so deserving for our student athletes to have that experience and be able to end the season on a high note and something to build for the future. I will say right off the bat, our schedule, and for all sports, not only for boys soccer, but especially it feels like for boys soccer, it's really difficult because we're playing the top of the top, right? I think in our 16-game regular season schedule, we only played 2 teams in 2A. Everyone else was 3A. So we're talking about bigger schools with bigger programs, a lot more, student athlete pool to choose from. And so our season was all about, our coaching staff was dedicated to finding the right pieces. We moved a lot of people around, right? No game looked like the last one, but then finally going into postseason, which we knew was going to be where we really wanted to shine, we were able to kind of find a better fit and model. And I think they came through in some of the results.
And when you talk about your schedule being really, really tough, enough. That is, I mean, it's really, really important to build that schedule out. So once you get to the postseason, your guys know who you're going to play. They know how good they're going to be. And now you can shut the season down and say, now this is postseason.
Yeah.
And all of the experiences we've put you guys through, all of the great teams we played is going to pay off right now for us.
Yeah, that's what I told the guys right before we started our postseason run. I said, there's very few chances in life that you're going to get a true second chance to reinvent yourself. And they did that, I think, spectacularly because, if anyone looked at our record, and most of the rankings did, put us really towards the bottom. But I knew it was something that we were able to, that our record was not indicative of the team we were and the style of play we wanted to play, and I think we showed that in sectionals.
Talk about some of your players now that perform for you.
Yeah. Again, so it's a very young team. I think in the previous 2 or 3 years, we've only taken 1 or 2 freshmen. This year we had 6 freshmen. I was really proud. I mean, there was a lot of times when those freshmen were all on the field at one same time. So I think we had some experience. I would have to highlight kind of our captain and our seniors who really cemented the program and allowed the culture to maintain itself. So Declan Gallagher, who missed, he had some injuries, and so he missed a lot of the first few games. And so we talk about that rhythm and finding the right pieces. We struggled with that a little bit, but he came back and really solidified ourselves defensively. I think we gave up like 14, 15 goals in his absence in 3 or 4 games, which is really hard to bounce back from. He was great. And I think, offensively, we worked a lot through Era Horvath. Era's a sophomore here at St. Joe, an incredible talent, right? And we were just lucky. I was just always amazed at some of the things he did. If you haven't seen his goal in the sectional championship against Northwood, I would highly recommend it. It was talked about by all the coaches, and everyone was very complimentary of him. But more than that, I think it was a really big team affair, right? We're really well positioned now, I think, to grow the program in terms of our class size. We're graduating 5 seniors, but every class has 6 or 7 at the varsity level who have contributed. And we hope to have another really great freshman class coming in.
So when a soccer season is done and players are finished, what's the regiment that they will go through in the off season? I mean, are they playing indoor soccer? Are they going to camps? Are they working in the weight room?
Yep.
What's the regiment that a soccer player will go through once the season's over?
Yeah, so that was one of the things you talk about my experience with coaching. Probably one of the things I'm most looking forward to is kind of our off season. What are the IHSAA standards that we can go and take advantage of? So I think the weight room is going to be a big thing. I think now everyone, no matter what sport you play, realize like your strength, stability, power, explosiveness is something we need to work on. We were pretty undersized this year, which you could tell, and so we need to make up for that in other ways. And so it's really important that the kids have that regimen, take advantage of the resources here at St. Joe to do that. About half of our kids will be playing like competitive AAU type club soccer, and that's going to be really helpful for them, but a lot of them aren't. So we're going to start to implement some camps and some mini sessions, mini training camps here that allow them to play, whether it's indoor soccer or, if the weather allows, outdoor. As you know, it's really tough to play outdoor soccer.
Yeah, no,
in this
especially
area.
in South Bend, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, unless you want to sweep off the snow.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a commercial on TV where they're playing, they brush off the snow,
Yep.
the kids come out there and they're kicking the ball, they're having a blast.
Yeah.
Does that happen here somewhere?
I mean, I think so. I think some of our kids have done that. They did that at Notre Dame and some of the fields there when they want to go kick out with their friends and things like that. But yeah, we'll be prepared to try and take advantage of much of we can of the off season.
Your facilities here with the great Father Bly Field got to be second to none, right? With the ability to go out on that great field, not have to worry about mud or anything, just a great turf field to practice every day and work every day, right?
So we are actually at the North Athletic Complex out by St. Pat's Park. So we do have a grass field, and that's where most of our play happens. It's just a little bit difficult with some of the fall sports. So we're out there on grass, and we do have to face a lot of the mud and things like that we'd love to avoid. But
do you play matches here at Father Blythe Field?
no,
at times?
Oliver, we tried to play 2. The schedule allowed for us to play 2 here, which we like, right? I always want the boys to have more opportunities to play here because it's easier for their fan base, their peers to come out and support them, and that's important for us.
Yeah, we'll see if we can talk to the athletic director here and see if we can get a couple more matches here on Father Blythe Field. Obviously you're young, you have a great passion for the sport, and does that carry over to you when you meet with prospective kids coming into St. Joe, and that emotion that comes from you, they get the feeling, man, I got to come to St. Joe and play soccer for Coach Martinez.
I certainly hope so, right? I think I was very intentional about finding a great coaching staff too. We have everything from our volunteer assistants to our JV coach, Chris Ramish, and our assistant varsity coach, Ted Muskwinski, both of them St. Joe grads, right? That's an important part of me, an important part of the culture that we want. I want the kids to see that this matters, that, playing high school soccer is more than just the results, the wins and the losses. It's about, representing an institution, representing your community. And I think, it's a young group like we talked about, but it's certainly one that we're hoping takes that as a badge of honor and hopes to grow with it.
Yeah, I think that in talking to coaches at St. Joe High School, and I've done that for years, I think the coaches have done such a great job to make kids understand that it's more than just the sport, whether it's soccer, whether it's golf, whether it's basketball. It's more than just the sport. It's the feeling of family and everything else that goes on here at St. Joe, right?
100%. Yeah, I think that's true. We're always trying to tell the kids, like, as you approach the game is how you're going to approach life, right? How good of a teammate you are, what your work ethic is like, how disciplined are you for the goals that you set for yourself. And it's even more complicated because it's a very team sport, right? I tell the kids, soccer is a weak-link sport, right? The better teams are the ones whose worst player is better than the other team's worst player. That's kind of what it's like, as opposed to maybe like a basketball or a football where you could have a star quarterback or you could have LeBron James and they're going to be more successful because you
How about Michael Jordan?
Yeah. Oh,
come on, man.
I know. I would have said
everybody says LB. So
I'm in a younger generation, so they don't know and appreciate Michael Jordan.
And so I don't know if you know this, but I had the pleasure to coach the McDonald's All-American game.
Wow.
And LeBron, I coached LeBron James.
That's great.
And his point guard on that team was Chris Paul.
Yeah.
But everybody always asks me, LeBron or Michael. I always go with Mike, man.
I would too. But I thought I was speaking to the next generation, and they know LeBron a little bit more.
No, 100%. Hey, listen, I want to congratulate you. You're in the books here, the St. Joe Athletic Department with the sectional championship, and I can tell by speaking with you that you have just a great outlook and a great passion for the sport of soccer. And any young kid that wants to get involved and play soccer at St. Joe would be really lucky to play for you, Coach. So thanks for spending a minute with us.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations, and good luck moving forward here.
Oh, yeah. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
That's the great Pablo Martinez. We will be back in a minute to finish up Heartbeat of the Huskies. Welcome back to Regional Radio Sports Network, Heartbeat of the Huskies. Our last segment here, I'm Ron Hecklinski, 1974 grad. Filming us today is J.P. Gilbert, 1998 grad. And to my left is the great Stephan Anthony, athletic director. So last week, or our last show, our question was, boys basketball player, Indiana All-Star, NCAA champion, 6-year NBA career, played 2 years with the Lakers, 3 years with the Golden State Warriors, and a year with the Indiana Pacers. Who was it? We got a winner. Brian Troster types in the great Tom Abernathy. Tom Abernathy, a 1972 graduate of St. Joe, went on to play at Indiana University for the great Bob Knight. His high school coach was Bob Donewald here at St. Joe. Bob Donewald went and was an assistant coach at Indiana. Coach Donewald coached both John Laskowski and Tom Abernathy at IU and worked under the legendary Bob Knight. So Tom Abernathy had a great career. Brian Troster, we will be getting you some type of a T-shirt, a garment that says St. Joe Athletics on it for answering that question. Brian's son Jack is on the football team, a great football player. And here's a little trivia. If anybody can guess this trivia, I don't know that I could. He coached a guy that I know in hockey. Our camera guy, J.P. Jobert, played for Brian Troster. So here is our question for this week, Stephen. And I know you'll know this right off the jump, but this tells me who's listening to the show, right? Name 2 current head coaches that played together on the 1995 football state championship team that are high school coaches in northern Indiana. A hint? If anybody needs a hint, I'm all in giving hints. A hint, they coached against each other recently. So 2 coaches that played on the 1995, 2 head football coaches that played on the 1995 state championship team here under the great Frank Amato at St. Joe. Stephen, you can email Stephen Anthony, the athletic director, santhony@stjoehigh.com.
That's correct.
Right? Stephen, it's been another great show. Thank you for hosting us, for letting us come in and talk about St. Joe athletics. A wonderful recap that you gave us on fall sports. Our next show will be in November. We'll have basketball rolling. We'll have girls basketball rolling. We'll have wrestling rolling. We'll have some other sports going, swimming. So obviously we'll have more to talk about on Heartbeat of the Huskies. Any final thoughts?
Well, don't forget about hockey. Don't forget about wrestling.
Hockey, of course.
So we've got a lot of fun, competitive winter sports coming up. So I'm excited about it for sure.
So we all know that I've had a liver transplant, and I'm going on 29 years being liver transplanted. And I always end my shows, whatever show I'm doing, I always end them by saying, sign those organ donation cards. And have an understanding that we have a lot of people that need organs. Don't take your organs to heaven. Heaven knows we need them here. Thanks for tuning in. We'll look forward to the November broadcast of Heartbeat of the Huskies.